Alright guys, Gary aka Hopeless back again. Just in case you didn't know, over the weekend Games Workshop did their big reveal for Age of Sigmar Dominion. It looks absolutely amazing, and quite frankly, as soon as the pre-order goes up I will be trying to get one for myself, finances willing. But I watched that and then I realised that I have got God knows how many issues of the Mortal Realms Partwork Magazine they released last year, and it would probably be a good idea if I actually started painting some of those. So in this video I'm going to show you how I painted the 10 Chainrasps that came with it. My time is pretty limited at the moment. Obviously I'm back to work and 2 kids and trying to balance family time. So this is a video of how I got these Chainrasps looking pretty nice, if I say so for myself, with a relatively short amount of time and effort. So if you do like the video, please do leave a like, comment. If you're not subscribed, please subscribe. I did that thing where all the YouTubers seem to look at their analytics, and yeah, there's a lot of people who watch my videos but aren't subscribed, which I find quite interesting. So in any case, let's get on with the video. As always, I start with black primer with a Zenithal white Liquitex ink highlight. Let's get to it. Just a small interjection here. The model I actually paint in the video, I dropped before or after priming and highlighting. Cracked it a little bit, tried to fix it, did a god-awful job covering up the crack. But yeah, that's why there's a big splodge on part of it. I did not have the time to go back and do it properly. But the rest of them all look great, as you'll see at the end. Back to the video. The majority of the model was done with contrast paints because I wanted to try and get this done quickly, and yeah, trying to fit everything in with the kids. A little stressful at times. I started off by doing the lower robes in Aphomatic Blue. Out of all of the contrast paints, I think that Aphomatic Blue looks the most sort of spooky, ghostly, otherworldly out of the current range. I don't have the new one they released for the Necrons. Is it Necron Glow or something like that? I'm not too familiar. But that could be a good alternative, which I might throw in the next order I do. Have a look at that. I did 2 coats of Aphomatic Blue. It came out quite nicely, I think. Skeleton Horde was used on the limbs and faces. I am tempted to use Plague Bearer flesh on the next load I do, just to see what it comes out like. For the shroud I used the Black Templar contrast paint. Not really much else to add. The black had some nice shadow effects without being too dark. At this point I wanted to touch up the candles on this particular model because they were sort of very grey. So I grabbed my very heavily thinned down Corax white. I've noticed if you don't thin this down it does have the consistency of cream cheese, which is not really great for painting with. Grabbing hold of my trusty lead belcher, I went over the sword blade, the helmet and some of the chains. For the figures that have axes and maces and anything with a wooden handle really, I used wildwood on those ones. Using Retributor armour, I went over the staff that the candles are mounted on, the sword handle and pommel, and the ring that the keys are on for this particular model. On the other models I used that also on sword handles and various highlighting for chain padlocks and dragging bits of scenery that I don't know the name of. As this particular model had fire raging from the top of his staff, I wanted to try and make a bit more effort with the flames. I've never really been able to do fire looking right. So I used Yanden Yellow for the tips downwards, and Griffhound Orange from the base upwards, and tried my best effort at wet blending contrast paints. I'm in two minds about it. While it was drying, or while it was wet, I sort of looked at it and thought, now I've buggered this one up, and now it's dry, I'm actually a bit more impressed with it. Once everything had dried off, I went over all of the metalworks on all of the models with Agrax Earthshade. I wanted everything to sort of look a bit old and dirty, but not as dirty as non-oil would make it look, if that makes sense. And no, I'm quite happy with it. With the figures themselves pretty much finished, I started working on the bases. Some of the models have these little stones that they're sort of emerging from, a couple of them have gravestones. I went over all the rock stuff with Basilicanum Grey, which I think is probably the best contrast paint for stone and stone effects. As we approach the end of the models, I grabbed my Stirland Mud texture paint and my horribly filthy scratch to hell texture tool and started whacking the Stirland Mud all over the bases. Once I'd got all of this down, I grabbed an old paintbrush and moved it around to try and make it look like not so much of just a clump of dirt. Some of the bases came out okay, some of them not so much. Once the Stirland Mud was dried, I grabbed my dry brush and a pot of Steel Legion drab and just gently went over the tops just to bring out the details and the texture paint. Also, before starting all of this, I did go around all of the bases in Steel Legion drab, so yeah, that's cool. Once all of that was dry, the only thing left to do was to grab my turntable and take some footage of them all turning on a turntable. Just like that. So that's all 10 Chainrasps from the first issue of Mortal Realms, which has been sat on my shelf since the 20th of January 2020. What do you guys think? Was this of any use to you? Did you like the video? Did you hate the video? Let me know down below, it's always fun. I think over the next couple of weeks, or when I can get time, I will be going through the Stormcast Eternals that were included in that one as well. I just need to work out what to do with them, whether I go with the traditional gold armour or try one of the funky colours. Doing it this way, I think it took me about 3 hours over the course of 3 days? Take a day away for the texture paint drying. Yeah, it was nice, it was quick. I think it came out alright. Some people might not, some people might hate the way it looks. If you don't like it, let me know what you would have done better down below. I'm always here for feedback. As always, thank you so much for watching. Hopefully you've enjoyed the video. If, as I said, if you did, leave a like, subscribe, come back for more. Let's get those numbers up. As always, I am Gary, aka Hopeless. Thank you so much for watching, and hopefully I'll see you in the next video. So until then, see ya!